Hello folks, welcome. I have a video for you today on Debian 12 Bookworm. This will be the Gnome desktop. I've done quite a few videos also on the XFCE and a couple of them on the Plasma desktop. So this is Gnome 43.9. It is the latest as of September of 2024. I'm not sure when you're watching this. There's a new installer also available, a net installer that you can pick several different desktops. So today's video is on Debian 12. I'm going to be showing you a little mini tour. I'm going to give you tips also. One of them would be installing and activating a mouse pointer similar to this one, this yellow thing, because you only get one mouse cursor, mouse pointer. I'll talk about some of that. And then also some tips in the file manager, and then just give you a general overview of what comes installed by default. All right, so let me get this out of the way. I'm filming in 1080. The system came up in 4K mode, and I had several different scaling factors. But I thought I'd spare you the smaller icons for the video, so I'm filming in 1080. Welcome, folks. Subscription key is in the corner there, well over 440 videos on all kinds of things. I also have playlists. You may want to look at that if you're specifically just looking for Debian. Now, let's take a look at this start key on your keyboard for a second. That activates this menu. All right, we can also click that. So the general stuff on the bottom, minus this one here, the simple screen, which I added, you have the Firefox. I don't think I need to open this just yet, but we can take a look at that a little bit later for some tips if you like. Evolution if you're doing like email and contacts. LibreOffice Writer, I believe it's 7.4. The file manager I'm going to open for you later. I'll start with software, everybody's favorite. All right, where's the stuff coming from? Software repositories. All right. And other software that is not checked currently. Okay, and the developer options are turned off. All right, just wanted to let you see standard install stuff. We can certainly go through the editor's checks and stuff, and you can see the ones with the round circles with the check marks are installed. So you find something that you may want to look at, allow the thumbnails to build, because this is the first time I opened this. I just installed this. So if you're interested in any of these kind of fonts, keep in mind they don't have green circles on them. So if I was wanting that installed, I have an install key. Very simple stuff to use. All right, clicking this button instead of hitting the start button on my keyboard. If you have one of those keyboards with a start button, some people call it a Windows key, you can press that. I'm going to do a search for Synaptic, S-Y. Synaptic Package Manager is another way to install software. I'll put my password in here. There are currently 63,492 packages available. Synaptic Package Manager is pretty much found on all distributions that are Debian based. And this happens to be Debian. But you'll find plenty of distributions that are also Debian based. All right, so this is Synaptic 0.91.3. If you're curious about the version of this, this is brand new as of September of 2024, and there has been an update, on the Debian website. You may want to look at the new installers. The net installer is what I use, and you can pick several different desktops. I picked and stayed with the standard Gnome desktop for today's video. Don't forget that if you're using Synaptic on other systems that are, well, Debian based, the legends may be slightly different. Okay? And you can see the Debian logo is sitting right there. So one of the things that I like to turn on is this setting right here. But I'm going to show it to you without it. So I'm going to go to Sections and, Status and Installed. So let's take a look at the accounting service, and you see very few dialog boxes. Too small for you? Let me grab the corner and just blow this up a little bit. Your mouse pointer, by the way, is not this yellow thing. It's a black one. I'll talk about that too as a tip. But you have limited information here. You can right-click on it and hit Properties, and then you can get dependencies, installed files, where the stuff is located on your drive, and version numbers. Would you like to see this in this box? Well, that is why I mentioned this one. It's very simple. It's the General tab, first item. To me, it's popular. So now when I click that, I can see this in a better box. And keep in mind, you can pull this up and down. Okay. You can certainly install software too. Very simple. Let's pick this real-time, whatever this game is. And I'll just click on it, mark it for install. It requires other packages, so I'll mark them and then do the apply. But again, if you don't want to do that, use the software store. Here's your help menu. You may want to click through some of this stuff. And we have a simple screen is what I'm recording with, so I'm going to skip over that and show all apps. You have contacts. That's a game, weather, and your calendar also has weather. I have Paris, France plugged into here. You can click that open if you like. And let me go back and click that again. So clocks, add a world clock, that kind of stuff. And then we have maps, solitaire, simple calendar, and you can add events in here. All right. Videos, calculator, chess, document scanner. Your settings can be found here, also here. System monitor, extensions if you want to install some. Okay, extensions are on. On mine, yours may be off. Terminal, so if you like to install stuff through terminal or perform terminal commands, very simple stuff to do. If you type in certain things and they're not installed, you'll like that is not installed, then we can use SU. And apt install ncal. Finished. Clear. ncal. And cal. You want a practical use for this? Okay. Cal space somebody's birthday. All right. 3 for March. What year? 1967. Do you have a friend born on March 3, 1967? Your friend was born on the 8th. He or she was born on a Wednesday. Have a little fun with this one. Exit. You can always back up this video. So what I just did was I exited root mode because I had to install that in root mode. And when I type in exit twice, it exits the interface. Just a little tip with terminal. Your utilities, there's 2 screens. You got network, disk usage analyzer, comes in handy if you're kind of looking at information on what's consuming stuff. Your disk utility, image viewer, and archive manager. Your file manager also has that stuff built in. And I'm going to talk a little bit about tweaks for this mouse pointer a little bit later. Okay, and logs, and characters and fonts. All right, skipping to the last menu, you got another game, another game, another game. I think this is for little webcams. I don't use Chiefs very often, but that's what I understand. Input method, another game, LibreOffice Calc, spreadsheets, draw, and the last page. Lots of LibreOffice Start Center. So if you want to look at all the suites, you can see the database is not installed, but everything else is. All right, I'm going to pull that down. That's one of the tips I'm going to be showing you in the file manager later. So I will go to the last tab. So we talked about that. Some more games are in here. And the rhythm box for your music. Anyways, you can see all the stuff that's installed in here. Quite a few games. And here's Synaptic. Okay, so I'm on the last tab. There's only 2. Also, if you want to put some of this stuff down here on the dock, like Rhythmbox, you can just drag it. I have not opened Rhythmbox yet. I do have a couple of pieces of music, so I'm going to let you see what that does. It imports those automatically. I just did this on the fly. So I had 4 albums in my file manager that you'll see a little bit later that imported all the songs. Now you can create your playlist if you like. All right, so we got lots of little toys, and then we can look for things. So I'm going to talk about the file manager, and then I'm going to talk about this mouse cursor, how you can install it and activate it. Are you a subscriber yet? Well, if not, I have some links for you in my About section. You can read about my mission statement. I don't get paid for videos. Okay, I do this for the Linux community. And more importantly, I have some links for you, and one of them is how to retrieve themes or mouse pointers, like from gnome-look.org. So in either case, we can talk about some tips. First of all, I'm going to talk about the file manager. First time I opened this. Sorry, file manager. Let's try that again. Web browser. So let's just type in news. Not that I want to read any, but we have news in here. News articles. And there can be really bad lately. But what if I wanted to enlarge this area? Do you have a standard computer or do you have a laptop? I'm using a standard computer, if you want to call it that, a tower computer. Fairly standard keyboard, and then all of my keys on my keyboard are not like a laptop where they're assigned to some things like brightness and stuff. I also am using not a touchpad, I'm using a regular mouse, and that mouse has a scroll wheel on it. And that scroll wheel can come in handy for a lot of things. And you'll see that not only in this web browser, but again in the file manager. So if you've never seen any of my videos, I like to demo this off first. Hold down your control key and scroll up. This will go all the way to 500%. You can see that right here. If I still hold the control key and scroll backwards, I can go to 30%. Now, who wants to look at stuff like that? But you get an overview of what that looks like. So I'm going to scroll back. I'm still holding the control key, by the way. That's at 100. That's at 110. That's at 120. 130. I'm going to let go of the control key. Now I can scroll normally in the new resized. That's tip 1. So tip 2, if I want to do the close thing, I can just use Alt and F4. Or I can click the X. Alt and F4 it is. It is very common, and you'll see me do this in quite a few different distributions. Pressing the Start key, let's open up the file manager. All right, so first of all, I have this currently in a view mode where normally you don't see the hidden file. So Control H. All right, so if you look at the hamburger menu, you'll see that in gray. It'll say Control H. This is also a very common keyboard shortcut with modern Linux file managers. You have preferences in here. And there's more stuff, in other words. There's a scroll bar in here. And we have keyboard shortcuts. 3 tabs worth. Okay. Very common ones you may have encountered is Control Z for undo. You may encounter like the different kind of things that you're doing, like copy is Control C, Control V for paste, Control A for select all. These are very common with just about every Linux distribution, including Microsoft Windows. Keyboard shortcuts. How would you like to resize these icons in a hurry? Hold down your control key, and scroll up on your computer mouse and back to make them bigger or smaller. I'm just cycling. I'm scrolling up and scrolling back. When I get it to the size I want, I let go of the control key, just like I did in the file manager. In the web browser. I keep saying that. All right, we can enlarge the box, and then we can enlarge the icons. We can also double click on this imaginary line to go full screen. And double click. All right. I'm going to talk about some buttons also that you can activate. Minimize, maximize buttons if you don't like this kind of stuff. I'll talk about that in a second. So if you're looking at photos, for instance, I just hit the space bar to get a preview. If I hit the space bar, again, it'll go away. Space bar for a preview. And then I can double click. That opens this up in Image Viewer. Okay, if I hold down the Control key and scroll, nothing happens. If I hold the Alt key and scroll, then I can zoom. Alt key, Alt key. Remember that one. All right. We can get image information also. I took this photo here many years ago. And image properties. You can tell that what size this thing and what kind of camera it was. So if your photo retains this kind of information, which most do nowadays, modern cameras do, they post information to your photos that you may not even see. It's kind of hidden. Taken with a Sony DSC HX50V. Now here's another one that is also done with a digital camera. First of all, let me give you that. That's the Oregon, USA coastline. Oregon, USA coastline. I'm just using the space bar to get a preview. Right click, properties, image properties. That was taken with an iPhone 12 and all the particulars. So your file manager can contain a wealth of information. A wealth of information. So let's talk about tweaks for a second. So Gnome Tweaks is an interesting tool. When you turn on some things, like appearance, you can select cursor size. Now this one here is coming from USR Share Icons. This is your standard mouse cursor. This one here is installed in dot icons or period icons in my home folder. I could have also put that mouse cursor in that location also. But that's what that's installed. And I need this tweaks tool to activate it, not install it. Activate it. Again, when you click that on your screen after a fresh install, this is all you'll have. Your default mouse pointer. This is how you activate those things if you have more than one installed. And I'm going to install one right in front of you in a second. The other thing is window title bars. Do you want to see the maximize, minimize button? Then turn these two on. There's a myriad of stuff that you can do in here, but I'm just going to talk about those basic things. This yellow thing is installed here. It was done manually. It is in a hidden folder that you cannot see. I'm going to hit Control H. Control H shows hidden files. I created a new folder called period or dot icons. I have this thing called radioactive. It is a mouse cursor, mouse pointer. Okay. In my documents folder, I have more. Where did I get some of these? These came directly from gnome-look.org, a nonprofit website. If you want specific videos, you can watch any of my videos on how to install mouse pointers. It's the activation of the mouse pointer that's different on different distributions. Some of them are not resizable. I'll take Night Diamond, and what I'm going to do is extract it into a folder. I'm going to open the folder. As long as I have an index theme and cursor, I'm pretty sure that it's going to work just fine. So I'm going to go back one and I'm going to cut the whole folder. Right click, cut, Control X. And throw it into the same folder. Would you like to see what this looks like? Okay. I'm going to open up Tweaks, because that's the tool I need to activate the mouse pointer. This is Night Diamond Red. It's a glowing thing and it's non-resizable. Okay. Let's go back to that one for a second. I'll do one more. All right, this one here looks like a spear. And you can see that these are compressed in different formats. This is in tar.gz, tapearchive.gz is compressed, and tar.bz. Right click, extract. Let's take a look at that. It's a single cursor. Do I have an index theme? I do, and that. Sometimes you'll have multiple themes inside of one install. Just be aware that if you're on that website and you download a cursor theme, sometimes they will culminate 5 different types inside of the one installation file. Not in this case. Right click, cut, home, period or dot icons. Again, this is a self-created folder. On some systems, they actually create that. To give you an example, Linux Mint automatically creates that when you click themes. But I sometimes create these folders myself. Mouse pointers on just about every single Linux distribution is only installed in 2 locations. In your home folder, period icons for your current logged in user, and USR share icons for all logged in or all users on the system. That would be current and future. So I can put all 3 of these things into USR share icons if I open the file manager in root mode. All right, now I have 3 of these. Closing this up. One more time with tweaks. And now you can see what this one looks like. This is called Skyrim. I'll use this one for a second. The mouse pointer size is not picked in here. The mouse pointer size is actually done in your settings. When you go down to accessibility, you can look at cursor size. This is the smallest, and you can see it's quite dinky, filming in 1080, and this one is a little bit larger. This one's the middle of the road. This is your standard mouse pointer. Okay, so basically if I go back to tweaks, okay, and I can use the standard one from here, default. That should match your cursor. I'll make it jumbo. And in most cases, this is sufficient. I'm just showing this little trick just in case you wanted to change your standard mouse pointer or mouse cursor. Okay, just a little tip for you. Okay, just make sure that it's cursor, not icon set, because it is in there. You can see that. But this is a cursor, mouse pointer, cursor. Okay, so Skyrim looks like that. Radioactive looks like that. Night Diamond Red, again, is small, even though I got it maxed out because it's non-resizable. And you will find mouse cursors that do that. Now, you may find it small here, but if I was running in a lower screen resolution, this will look very large. And it's sufficient for low screen resolution monitors. And it looks fairly nice, actually. Wrong category. So again, this is your only one. And you can see that I'm in jumbo. So that one is resizable. This one's not. This one is. And this one is. But they're not always the same size though. Okay. So I'll switch back to the yellow one. So as we move through here, starting at the top, you got your Wi-Fi stuff and your Bluetooth stuff. I don't really use Bluetooth for pretty much anything. And you have your standard appearance and notification stuff and sound, power, displays. Now the mouse and touchpad is not where you adjust the size, but the speed and the primary button right or left. The size of the pointer is done through accessibility cursor size, as an FYI. This printer I did not install. I've done a couple of videos so far regarding driverless wireless printers. I like this Brother printer because I've been using it for 5 years and I just feed it paper and toner cartridges. Other than that, it works not only on all Linux distributions, but more importantly, it also works on Microsoft Windows, Macs, and even iPhones. Driverless printers is the way to go in my book. I've discussed 2 videos so far if you're trying to pull your hair out trying to install printers. I recommend driverless. Brother, the reason I use these printers is because of the fact that they just keep working. This is a laser color printer, by the way. So it's ready to go. I can print from it. All right, so users, default apps, time and date, and if I didn't say so earlier, I'm filming in the X11 window environment. In your login screen, you can actually, the first selection, if you click your username in the middle, you'll see a tiny little dot appear here in the lower right-hand corner that you can click and select X11 in case you don't like the Windows Wayland environment. The reason that I'm filming in X11 is because the simple screen recorder does not work in Wayland, as with a lot of screen recording software. There are some that can work but without sound. I don't like to fiddle with that, so that's why I use X11 when it's available to me. Don't forget, you can click your weather and select the cities that you want. And the calendar entries are also in here. If you type in calendar, you can find it rather quickly. All right, don't forget, you can use my trick of pulling that down. You can double click, pull it down. You can resize the corners. You can activate these 2 buttons through tweaks if you want them. Other than that, they will not be here. But you can still use my trick of doing this kind of stuff when these are missing. This is the same thing as clicking that tiny little button when I do this kind of stuff. Okay? So even if I open up my web browser, I can still double tap instead of using that. I can also use Alt and F4 to close this. And on that note, I will say thank you for watching.